Hey guys, so this is something old school that I used to do back in season 3 and stuff, but I wanted to try it again, and I think it's going to be probably the most useful version of this type of video from me. It's kind of going to replace top 5s, I think, so let me know what you think in the comments, but we're going to go ELO by ELO and talk about who is S tier, the best overpowered level A and B tier champions for each role. This is also a video with pro guides, by the way, so if you're looking for that edge or if you're extra guides, then it's definitely going to be worth a look. They also have high ELO players. You can quiz and ask questions whenever you want to, but there's a link below. There's also a free trial, so there's no risk for you. These are based on a lot of stats I've collected for each ELO and apply for this patch, but in general as well. We're going to start with bronze and then go on to the others, but there are going to be timestamps below to each ELO if you want to skip. I'm not going to spend too long talking about the different picks because I don't want to make this really long. So to start with, in the top lane for bronze, we have Yorick and Tryndamere. You can really cheese kills in the lane phase with these guys. You get ahead and then it's very hard to play against or to shut them down, which is the most important part. For the A tier, it's time to get tanky really. So if you make mistakes, it doesn't really matter. You have good engage with these guys, good damage, but you don't really die either. For the B tier, we typically have these easier champions, which means you can focus on the game a bit more. Like Nasus just farms up a storm. Garen is pretty aggressive and can actually do a lot of damage. In the jungle, let's just say to start with, okay, Zac is overpowered right now. He has the tank and damage elements, that means he can survive and carry as well. Perfect for every ELO. With Xin, games go longer, so that's perfect for you. You don't have to rely on your team at all, and you will get your items, which means you will carry. All three of these in the A tier get very tanky, and they also do good damage. Jax especially like is the same deal as Xin Zhao before in the S tier. Warwick and Volibear are kind of great anti-carry champions who can dive on the enemy mid laner or AD carry and take them out of the fight. With the B tier, we have easier junglers to play, but they're still very high impact. Now, Vi might surprise you a little bit, but she always has a very good win rate in bronze, probably because she does an insane amount of damage and also has a really good engage. For the mid lane S tier, Annie is easy to have a very big impact, but still carry. And Ahri, you can miss all your skill shots on Ahri, okay? It doesn't matter, and also you don't die even if you make mistakes. The A tier, we have straightforward to play champions, but very high team fight impact, plus they're all very good in the lane phase, so you can get ahead. With the B tier, Swain gets too tanky to deal with, and Karthus just thrives at lower ranks. We have high kill games, very bloodthirsty, more gold, which is perfect for Karthus, and games go later, which is also great. Even if you die, it's not a bad thing on Karthus. AD carry is probably the worst role statistically to play in bronze, but still S tier, Misfortune and Jinx, they're high impact and easy to play. You only have to press R in team fights and you can win with Misfortune, and all you have to do on Jinx is auto attack with your rockets. Caitlyn is easy to play to a basic level for the A tier. You're very safe and you also have a very good late game. With the B tier, Ashe is more utility, so your arrows, you're always going to be useful and you can kite people and protect yourself a little bit, but Twitch just has a really good late game and games go a bit longer in bronze. Support wise for the S tier, damage does win games as a support, basically like a second mid laner. That's how effective you can be. A tier, we have the best healers in this bracket. It doesn't matter how bad your AD is, like you can keep them alive, which is really important when some people do suck. B tier, the best tank support. You can go really aggressive, you can catch people out, and you do a lot of damage in fights. So moving on to the silver bracket now. For the top lane, it's the same as before for the S tier, but we also have these great split pushers or team fighters now in this bracket, which you'll be using more, which you can adapt and carry solo almost. A tier, yes, you're actually seeing it right. Temu, really good in the lane phase, which makes the enemy rage for one, puts them on tilt a little bit, and you're also very strong 1v1 or even 1v2. With the B tier, we're starting to get to more normal picks now, I guess. Like Darius is really good in the lane phase and he gets a lot of kills, which can help him carry. Fiora just outscales everybody, and Malphite has an amazing team fight. Jungle wise, Warwick is now up to the S tier. We have the healing, the damage, the engage, which is a really good combination to actually carry a game with. Xin Zhao is going to drop to the A tier and Jarvan comes in here, so Jarvan can gank, pretty much doing win the entire game himself and does a crap ton of damage with his ultimate. B tier, Jax and Yi scale, but they also have some pressure early, which means we can have some early game impact. Amu is just really good in team fights with so much crowd control, and crowd control is probably the easiest way to win a game at lower elo. For the mid lane, we've moved Malzahar up to the S tier now, so more like your team follows up, the better it's going to be for Malzahar. Like you can solo carry, but it's better with a reaction after you press R. Swain is going to move up a tier now, where lane wins mean a bit more in the game. Like he's very hard to play against and very hard to gank, which is kind of the same for Annie and Morgana as well. Ori is going to come into our B tier, who's a very reliable mage, but also scales well. It doesn't really matter matter if the game goes later because you're still going to be able to do damage, but you have really good burst 1v1 or in a team fight. AD carry wise, same S tier for the same reasons. Easy to carry with them and have a really big impact. Twitch is going to be up to A now, can be a bit more proactive, but still he's just an insane late game champion. That leaves Ashe in the B tier alone. The arrow can set up a lot of different things, and like the chance to group is a bit higher here as well, which makes your arrow a bit more effective. For the support S tier, we have Sona. So you can poke in the lane phase to bully, but your heal on your team fight is insane. Like, she's a really good lane and mid game champion. Damage is still really good, which is why we have Bran and Zarya in the A tier, but it's hard to carry a game by yourself now the games just aren't as Rambo and bloodthirsty. Thresh is going to be making an entrance into the B tier if you are okay with him. Actually pretty decent. Like, he relies more on you than the champion, but hooks mean a bit more now. So going to gold, we have Fiora up to the S tier now for the top lane. You can win lane and you can turn that into an amazing mid game and late game. You split push or you team fight to carry and win. We have the same three here for the A tier. Like, they're all three really good in the lane phase. I can do a bit more with the lead here in gold as well. Hopefully, like, punish the enemy and actually do more with it. And more tanky options are in the B tier, which are good for like half decent teams, I guess, to frontline for them. Still very solid in the lane phase though, especially Darius. Warwick is still going to be here in the S tier for jungle. He's so easy to play, but he carries so hard. Like, it'll probably get to a point where you stand there, you auto attack, you press Q to heal, and you don't even die later. A tier, Jarvan ganks a ton. Jax and Xin Zhao can gank, but they just scale really well, which is really good if the enemy team doesn't know how to finish a game. All of these do an insane amount of damage, and they get tankier late game as well. So here come the meta junglers for the B tier though. Both rely more on you playing it well, but both are very effective. They're decent gankers. Elise is a bit more early game, and Kha'Zix is probably a bit more mid game. For mid lane, Ahri can be a bit more effective here, I think, but so can Malzahar actually. If you combo these guys properly, you both do more damage, plus roams from these guys can be really deadly. A tier, we have these easy to play but high impact champions. So mid is more about having a consistent positive impact, win lane, and put the enemy one behind. B tier, we're going to have the meta mid laners, I guess. They rely more on you, like how you play them and stuff, with obvious downsides. Fizz and Syndra can snowball more than most, I guess, and Twisted Fate and Orianna have great mid to late game damage, plus Twisted Fate has beast roams. So for AD carry, Twitch is moved up to the S tier with Jinx now. He has an insane team fight, and you can use that a bit more hopefully now, especially with your roaming. Misfortune is going to drop to the A tier. She's still very high impact with their ultimate, but people are not going to be standing in it as much anymore. Lucian and Zaya pop into the B tier now. So Lucian is very strong if you're aggressive, plus she's insanely safe. Zaya is about you as a player, but does deserve a spot here if you put some effort into learning her. She's also very difficult to kill. For support, Sona is the same as before in the S tier. Blitz is now up to the A tier though. He's very good at punishing bad players who position like morons, as long as you have some kind of follow-up after you hook. Zara is going to slide down a bit, and Karma is into the B tier now. Karma works best with a decent team, I think, but she can bully the lane phase all by herself, which is why she's here. We're going to put Plat and Diamond together. So most high platinum games are with low diamond players. Like, once you get to actual diamond, you shouldn't really need a tier list, and I don't play enough games at that ELO to back up what I say. It would just be stats. So hopefully that makes sense. For the S tier and top lane, we have Riven and Fiora. Riven is a skill champion, plain and simple. She's very strong right now, but only if you can play her. She's a very good early game and also a very good late game. Darius is going to move up to the A tier now, where you can really spank your opponent and crush them for a good while after that. Tryndamere is going to drop to B tier just because teams are better at dealing with split pushes now. Galio is really good with a decent team, and Yasuo is amazing if you're good with him. For the jungle, Ivan is going to enter and straight into our S tier. Like, amazing as a support to help your team carry. He can make a massive difference, but he's 10 times better with a team with at least half a brain. Elise and Kha'Zix are going to move up to the A tier now. Ganking can mean a lot more. So hopefully, like, after 1 or 2 ganks in a lane, your laner will start to win on their own, making gankers much better. Sejuani is going to come in for the same reason as Ivan, to be honest, better with a good team to follow up your engage. Lee Sin is also all about how good you are, but he can definitely carry games if you're good with him. So I'm going to place him now into the tier list. Moving on to the mid lane now, Syndra moves up to the S tier as well. Like, one of the best to carry solo queue games, I think. She has his long range engage and does a crap ton of damage. Talia and Vel'Koz are going to enter in to the A tier. Both are harder to play, but very rewarding as well. Talia can win her lane phase, but she roams like a beast. That's the biggest thing. Push and roam. Vel'Koz just pumps out a natural amount of damage. The meta mids that are always good are going into the B tier, but they're not going to carry as hard as others. Some games they can pop off, they're great, but others, their weaknesses will be exploited, and there's not a ton you can do about it. For AD carry, the only S tier is going to be Twitch now. You should have a little bit more protection from your team and be more proactive with your stealth roams, which means you get to your mid or late game items a bit sooner. For the A tier, Caitlyn and Lucian are just very safe picks that always stand a good good chance to carry a game. Ashe is going to move up to here as well. She can get pounded, but her arrow can really carry games, and Zaya is probably the most aggressive pick here. Because they're easier to play, these two fall to the B tier now. It just gets a bit harder to carry, like people will avoid your ultimate on Misfortune and focus down the Jinx when you don't have an escape. For support, Thresh moves to the S tier, punishes most mage supports and meta AD carries now, so it can be really effective. Janna and Lulu are going to come up to the A tier, rely heavily on how good their AD carries are, but they can be amazing. You boost their damage massively and you keep them alive, but that doesn't matter if they're bad. That's why they weren't in here before. Bard is into the B tier now, very effective when your AD isn't dumb enough to die when you roam, or when you're not dumb enough to leave them at a bad time or for too long. So let me know what you think of this video style. It is a bit different. Thank you for watching until the end. Remember to check out pro guides, but for now, I'll leave you with the robots.